non-school grounds. We support asylum seekers, non-school grounds. You support asylum.
Who are they? Exactly. Who are they?
Families who fled war.
They're not families.
They're not families?
No, they're men.
Coming in.
Okay.
They're all individual
Why
men.
are they fleeing?
And they can come and go
Why
as they
are they
please.
fleeing?
But
And
they
this is
shouldn't
a
be
school.
near the
Have you found out why they're
This is
fleeing?
a school. Why is there school safety in school? Why do we need school safety
But
officers?
why are they unsafe?
Why do we
Do
need
you have a
school
criminal
officers?
record? Do you have proof of a criminal record?
How about you call the mayor and say you want to have them to live in your house?
Sure.
Good. Get a name and send them to the
What
mayor.
is this fear?
Because this
What
it's
is
not fear.
It's fear. This is fear-based.
This is
You
not
don't have a
fear-based.
record of a criminal record.
This is not fear-based.
Where the heck is the President of the United States?
That is a good question, and I think we all should be asking, why is this happening to a city that was turning itself around and will continue to do so? This should not be happening to New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles, and the other big northern cities, and really it should not be happening to El Paso or Brownsville, Texas. No city should be carrying this burden. This is a national problem, and it needs a national solution.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I gotta tell you guys, I am absolutely loving what is happening in these inner liberal cities who claim that they loved illegal immigrants so much when they were not in those cities, right? When they weren't dealing with the crisis themselves, when the illegals were in all of the southern border red states like Texas and Arizona, these people were virtue signaling from the rooftops about how we need to just take in illegals, right? Take care of them, house them, use all of our resources to help people who we don't know. We don't know exactly where they're coming from, who they are. We don't know if they're criminals. We don't know much about them, right? And now all of a sudden that they are experiencing the same crisis to a much lesser extent, that is, than Texas. These people are losing their minds, okay? We talked about what was happening in Chicago, where you had black residents, okay, a lot of black women who overwhelmingly voted for this, right? They overwhelmingly voted for Biden and Kamala. They voted Democrat. They're complaining because their community leaders who they voted for said, hey, you have to house illegals in your local neighborhood because the Texas governor is sending illegals to us, and we can't reject them because we said that we love illegals. We are a sanctuary city. We're going to house them in your neighborhood, okay? And those people threw a fit, okay? So now, fast forward, we have to go to New York City, where you have local residents, again, who probably all voted Democrat, right? They voted for this. Again, sanctuary city. You have parents and students who are protesting over illegals being housed in their local neighborhoods as well, too, particularly on school grounds. Take a look.
The city. Tonight, we're learning that several schools will be used to house incoming asylum seekers.
All right, as you can imagine, many parents aren't happy with the plan, claiming they were never told. Ashley Rodriguez live outside one of those schools in Williamsburg, Brooklyn tonight with reaction to the latest plan. Ashley.
Yeah, that's exactly what parents are saying. I mean, really, the city surprised everyone in this area that they were bringing migrants to be housed at this school. They told them yesterday afternoon. And not only that, the migrants will be taking over the newly renovated gym that services both PS-17 and MS-577.
Give it to your parents. Tell them to obey them. Gotta protect your gym.
Parents of PS-17 and MS-577 in Williamsburg stand outside during dismissal Monday afternoon, passing out flyers that say in big, bold letters, "Keep our kids safe."
I don't mind giving a helping hand, but when it interferes with the education of our students, yes, I do care.
Parents say they were given no notice about how many migrants are coming and who they are. Not only that, but the school's recently renovated gym is now off limits.
They waited like 2 years for the gym to get built.
and to come outside or winter locked up in the school.
The kids will effectively be under a lockdown during recess, and they blame Mayor Eric Adams. They intend to tell him what's on their mind through a rally Tuesday at 8 a.m.
The mayor really got to look into the law, into what's permissible.
The location of PS 17 and MS 577 is now one of 150 temporary shelters in the city, not counting the 6 locations recently designated. The news coming down as 4,200 migrants arrived in the city last week.
It doesn't have to be in the public schools. They can put them somewhere else.
PS 17 does have a standalone gym. You can see it right there. The only issue, according to parents, is that they have to leave open the gate so that migrants can come and go freely. And as you can see, the school is just feet away.
There's no safety. They're giving us one safety officer, just one additional one. We only have 2 for a school of 700 kids.
The mayor's office responded, saying, "We are out of space. As the mayor has said, nothing is off the table as we work to fill our moral mandate, but we should all expect this crisis to affect every city service."
That's not fair. And it only happens on low-income communities where our children are failing and not empowered in any way. Makes me angry.
So again, the city says it has opened 150 shelters. 8 of those are large-scale humanitarian relief centers, but still, there's just no space. The city has already taken 65,000 migrants since January, and today the city says that we can expect to receive hundreds of asylum seekers more every day. In Williamsburg, Ashley Rodriguez will send it back to you.
Well, all right, thanks, Ashley.
Guys, you gotta love it, right? You absolutely gotta love the chaos and the outrage that is coming from these liberals getting exactly what they voted for, right? You voted for New York to be a sanctuary city, okay? This is what you voted for, right? This is what you wanted. So, again, I'm trying to figure out what the problem is, okay? Because Democrats told you that, hey, we love immigrants, right? Illegal immigrants more specifically. We have to let them stay with us. It's just funny how that works. They never thought that this would happen. But again, there are some, again, unintended consequences, okay, in which you're seeing who Democrats care about the most, okay, in regards to people here who are in need, like, for example, homeless veterans, versus illegals, in which Democrats are basically showing people that, hey, we care about illegals more than homeless veterans. In fact, they kicked out homeless veterans from a New York hotel so that illegals could stay there. Take a look.
Now to the migrant crisis. New York City has turned to using schools to help some people of more than 6,500,000 asylum seekers who have arrived in the area since last spring.
Meanwhile, the town of Newburgh holding a meeting tonight to address migrants New York City has sent there on buses. An outrage after about 20 homeless veterans were forced to leave a hotel to make room for the immigrants.
Eyewitness News reporter Joe Torres is live in the town of Newburgh. Joe, again, 65,000 asylum seekers have been here. What to do now?
Well, Sade, we've been here in the town of Newburgh for most of the day and still no buses arriving from New York City here at this town of Newburgh hotel right along Route 300 here in Orange County. In fact, we talked to a sheriff's deputy about 40 minutes ago, picked his brain as to whether he's received any sort of alerts or advisories regarding the buses. He has said no indication as to if or when those buses will arrive here. But nonetheless, just inside the Ramada, there's a welcome sign for the migrants, and then there are numerous social service workers inside, ready and waiting. Joseph Brooks stood outside the Ramada in the town of Newburgh and worked his cellular flip phone. After a 1-month stay at the Orange County Hotel, the 62-year-old retired food service worker suddenly needs a new place to sleep. He tried to rebook today, but workers told him there are no vacancies until December because asylum seekers from New York City are soon to arrive. What's next?
I gotta find me another hotel. You know, I was gonna try to get back here, but it's not happening.
Not far away at the Crossroads Hotel, some of the newly arrived migrants soaked up the midday sun, scrutinized their paperwork, and wondered where their journey would take them next. A lawsuit filed by Orange County leaders says to make room for the busloads of asylum seekers, hotel management canceled some reservations and evicted guests, including some military veterans. Ridiculous, says Vietnam veteran Ronnie Yembras, who showed up to check on his brothers.
Could you imagine waking up in the morning for your coffee and you say, hey, we got to get out? And maybe the guy just found the room. Maybe he's been looking for a while. I just don't get it.
Back in the 5 boroughs, a public school gymnasium at PS 188 in Coney Island will now serve as a temporary emergency shelter for asylum seekers, joining the previously announced shelter plans at a former school on Staten Island. Preparations are now underway at 2 more schools as well. The detached gym in Coney Island will house about 75 migrants. They will not have access to the school, but that does little to ease the worries of anxious parents.
You mean as far as living?
Well, just for now.
And how temporary is this?
They don't really know. Yeah, that's the good question.
I don't think this is a good idea because it's inside of a school.
I asked the counties, to be helpful to us in identifying any sites. I mean, doesn't mean we're going there, but just let's look at the whole array of options that we have in the state of New York.
Now, Governor Hochul acknowledged the lack of communication between the involved parties here, the state, the county, the city, she says has contributed to what she called the contentiousness surrounding this humanitarian crisis. Also, we should point out, she said she's yet to receive any word from the Biden administration about possibly using federal space like Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn as a site, a large-scale site for the asylum seekers. She says that would help.
Yeah, so again, some of this is happening because Eric Adams decided to send these migrants to upstate New York places, hotels that happen to be Republican-led counties as a way to try to mitigate the crisis in his city, okay? He's facing fierce backlash for that, okay? He's facing a lot of backlash for him sending migrants to Republican counties. In fact, he's actually being sued. And we know that this is getting bad, it's getting terrible, because these guys who, again, bragged about sanctuary city status, right? We're a sanctuary city. Eric Adams is actually looking to revoke that, okay, as he asked the judge to revisit a law, right, in regards to NYC's sanctuary city status amid the massive influx of illegals. Take a look.
Law of sanctuary city was in place long before I became mayor. I'm following the law. As a law enforcement person, we follow the law. We're now in court today, asking the judge to revisit this law to deal with this humanitarian crisis, because even when they decided to put in place that law, no one thought that they would be dealing with a humanitarian crisis of this proportion.
Yeah, nobody thought that the border crisis would show up to our state, right? We had this in place because we wanted to virtue signal how much we love illegals until we actually got them, okay, until the border showed up at our doorstep. And it's not even really what Texas is dealing with, okay, which is hundreds of thousands, if not millions of border crossings. No, they're just dealing with a few thousand. And again, these places are losing their minds, right? They're losing their minds. Again, this is just another example of how do you red pill a Democrat? Well, you just give them what they want, right? Because liberal policies, progressive policies sound great until you're actually living in them, right? Once you actually start to live in these places, you realize just how terrible it is, okay? And the only way for a lot of these people to realize how bad it is, the stuff they vote for, is to actually get what they want, right? Just give them what they want. You guys love illegals so much. You wanted them to be here, okay? When they was in the red states, all right, well, let's send them to blue cities, okay? Let's send them to blue cities since you guys love them so much. They're not a strain on the social safety net. You're a bigot, right? If you make any arguments against illegal immigration, you're a bigot, okay? And I'm seeing a whole lot of bigotry coming from these citizens in New York City who are protesting, again, rightfully protesting, against illegals being housed on school grounds around their kids. But again, when this was happening in Texas, when Texans had to deal with it, when their fellow Americans had to deal with it, they were silent, right? Democrats was telling the Texans, Arizonans, conservatives to shut up, that, you're bigots and that you're xenophobic and you're racist for complaining about the exact same thing that these people are complaining about now. It's just absolutely hilarious to watch this. Again, one of the greatest things in politics to happen, and I've seen in a long time, is the Texas governor deciding to give the Democrats exactly what they want when it comes to illegal immigration. And boy, oh boy, oh boy. Again, you've seen a whole lot of backtracking and about facing when it comes to this topic of illegal immigration from a lot of these Democrats and these people that live in these cities that, again, voted for this, okay? They voted for the border crisis. Amazing how they only realize how bad it is when it shows up to their doorstep. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.